What do you think of Brandon's story and the way that he decided to take his own life?
Well, it's a horrific story.
Mm-hmm.
As a parent of somebody in the military, as I met with Brandon's parents, it just is heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
And it's heartbreaking that somebody who was doing everything right in terms of reaching out and seeking assistance was treated badly.
Mm-hmm.
And that bad treatment then was a significant contributing factor to his suicide that was so traumatic, not only for his parents, but for his colleagues in arms.
Mm-hmm.
And so that the bullying and harassment element of that is a huge problem. And then there's then there's also kind of a systemic problem in here, which is and I'm going to make sure my memory of this is right because it's been a number of months since I had the conversation. But when you come into the military, if you have your mind set on one MOS, and that is not to be, you shouldn't be treated like, oh, you didn't become a Navy SEAL. Use that example. So your summer, we're going to put a stigma on you because you wanted to do something like super hard, and it didn't work out for you, and so there's a stigma now. No, there should be no stigma. You wanted to serve your country. So you're wanting to serve your country should be honored in whatever your MOS is. You shouldn't be downgraded because you aimed high and like 98% of others, you couldn't exactly get what you wanted. People get MOSs in the military all the time, which is not the one that they wanted when they came in, but they're all serving their country. And part of the bullying that was painful in that case was the guy was bullied because the MOS he originally sought or hoped for himself was not to be. Nobody should be bullied for that. You should be celebrated because you wanted to serve your country.
Still serving.
Yeah.
What do you think of the idea, because the idea behind the act is to take an investigation of a suicide out of the chain of command and give it to an independent entity? Is that viable? Is that something you can support? What about that?
Yeah, a suicide needs to be investigated. This is not just sort of a discipline thing. What's the right discipline? This is looking at why were there 3 suicides on the fort. This is like big picture. Are we missing something? So, I think suicides probably need multiple investigations. I think there's within the chain of command investigation to determine is there some culpability, some disciplinary culpability, but suicides also require a bigger picture thinking about, do we have the right systems? Do we have the right programs? Why couldn't somebody access help? Why is there a stigma attached to not getting your desired MOS and then people hold that over you? Because that's not unique to Brandon.
Right.
That happens a lot in the military, and I've heard it.
He had to pick a career in 30 minutes. He had 5 choices.
Yeah,
I
mean, why?
Was aviation.
Yeah, why? And why is that? Why are you forced to make a choice like that in 30 minutes? I mean, that is wrong.
As a member of SASC, what can you do to kind of move the ball forward on the Brandon Act?
Well, the way we traditionally work on SASC is on acts like this, we take the good pieces of them and then we try to put them into the NDAA. So I had a very, very good visit with the Casertas a couple months back, and it was sort of already kind of at the end of last year's NDAA process, but we're certainly looking at elements of the act and thinking, what might we include? And we'll start in January basically working on the NDAA for next year, and what are the elements we might include. And I'm going to take those elements along with what I'm hearing in these discussions to see, and we might introduce a standalone bill, we might sign on to a bill, or we might just, because we're part of the draftsmanship of the act, just work on the NDAA draft. But the Brandon Act has a lot of wisdom in it about dealing with these issues that I think we can make part of a comprehensive approach.